Hello, my name is Patrick Allen, and I'm an interviewer for the Veterans History Project in Washington through the Library of Congress. And it's conducted here in Southwest Ohio by the Cincinnati-Hamilton County Public Library under the direction of Brian Powers. And we have the privilege today of interviewing Richard Todd Schwenke. You go by Todd.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And thank you for doing this interview for me.
Thank you, Pat.
All right. Before we get into your military, let's talk about your family. When were you born?
I was born in Columbus, Ohio, in January 16th, 1943.
What were the names of your mom and dad?
Mary Edith and Richard Lewis Schwenke.
What was your mom's maiden name?
My mom's maiden name was Jones, Mary Edith Jones. She came from a family of 9 children and grew up in Chillicothe, Ohio.
Oh, my mom was one of 9 also. What did your dad do?
Well, my dad initially he was a machinist. Now I don't know where he got his training as a machinist, but he met my mother and he was working at a Firestone station, which was at the corner of 5th and Main, I believe.
Where?
It was Main Street in Chillicothe, Ohio.
Okay.
And my mother lived on 5th, and my grandfather was the postmaster of Chillicothe and worked in the post office, which was directly across the street from the gas station. My dad, I'm not sure where he got the training to do what he did, but when I was born, he was working at the Ohio Institute of Aeronautics. He worked there from 1941 to 1943 when I was born, and then it changed its name to, now I can't even remember the name.
Where was it located?
Anyway, it was located in Columbus, Ohio. So my mom and dad at that time moved from Newark to Columbus, and he worked there during the war and taught reciprocating engines, aircraft engines, to the Navy, the Air Force. Well, they didn't have an Air Force at that time, so the Army Air Corps. And he taught engine maintenance to the soldiers who went out and again taught classes to the enlisted folks who maintained the engines.
What did your mom do during that time?
During that time, my mother worked at the Mead paper mill in Chillicothe initially, but when she had me, she did not work again during my lifetime.
I can remember Mead Paper Company when you drove by there.
Yeah,
it really had a overwhelming odor.
Yes, it does.
It smelled like money to the people that lived there.
Yeah, it's still in business. You can drive by now, and you can still see the smoke from the smokestacks. I guess they're doing something with the pulp and making paper. But it's been there for a long time, and probably will exist long after I'm gone. But that's where she had her first job, and I guess her only job.
Do you remember when your dad and mom were born?
Gee whiz. When they were born, my dad was born in 1912, and he was born in the north end of Columbus. I don't know if he was born in a hospital or not. I can't answer that question. And my mother was born in Chillicothe in 1917. So
she was 5 years younger than your dad? He was born in 12?
12, and she was born in 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you have brothers and sisters?
I had one sister, Beth Ann, and she
very younger.
She was 3 years younger than I was. And
is Beth Ann still with us?
No, she recently passed from the wonderful disease of cancer of the lungs, and And
That's been very recent, hasn't it?
yes, yes, within the last couple months. So and very unexpected and very sudden, and it sort of overwhelmed the family in its suddenness.
That was since I first met you back in June.
Yeah.
Yeah, holy Neds. Where was she living at the time?
She was living well, the closest town was Fredericktown.
I know where that is.
Yeah, up by Marion. And they went to church in Marion, at the Methodist Church in Marion.
Did she have family? Was she married?
She was married, but she had no children.
All right. Is her husband still living?
Yes, he is.
What did your sister do for employment, if you remember?
Well, she initially was unemployed. Then she started working for companies designing education programs for whatever they wanted to have classes in. So Honda hired her to design a program to educate new employees on X, and old employees on some new procedure, or old employees on old procedures, just to renew their emphasis on how we do things here at Honda.
Mm-hmm.
So she designed programs for different companies. Honda's the biggest one that I can remember.
All right. So, did your mom and dad follow any religion?
We were all Methodists, so, yes,
All
my
right.
whole life.
Where'd you go to elementary school?
Went to elementary school at North Linden, which was at the north end of Columbus. It was a new school.
Uh-huh.
And went there, and then I went to Clinton Junior High, and then to North High School.
All right.
Which is no longer in existence. It's some kind of government building for the Columbus Department of something. I don't know what.
All right. When you were in grade school, did you work at doing anything? Did you help your dad, or did you deliver papers or mow grass?
No, mostly I worked at the Booster for a long period of time. Worked on a printing press, and the Clintonville Booster was a local once a week newspaper that they printed and delivered.
When did you do that? Grade school or high school?
No, I did that when I was in junior high and high school.
What did you do for the paper?
Just worked on a printing press with a guy who ran the press, but helped put on rolls of paper on the press. It was a flatbed press, a big monstrous thing that I'm surprised they didn't lose an arm or a leg in the thing. It was,
Back in those days, it wasn't too much.
yeah, well, not any OSHA, I'll tell you that. It was paper would come down and go through rolls, and the paper would break. We had to run all kinds of humidifiers during the wintertime because the static electricity would build up and the paper would break and just make a loud noise, and you had to get the paper going over the plates, and there were big huge plates that laid down, and it would bring the paper off a monstrous roll. These rolls of paper weighed 1,600 pounds to a ton, depending on how big the roll was and whether it was a 72-inch or an 80. I can't remember the width of the rolls of paper, but the rolls of paper were monstrous. And you put them on there, and it just unrolled and went through these plates. And as it got, the press would come down over the plate, and the paper would go around a number of plates up and then come down through a cutter where you would grab the paper as it came out and stack it and bale it and send it out for delivery. It was a real dirty to say the least, with printer's ink everywhere. And
did you wear any protective clothing at all?
Oh,
aprons or masks?
No, had apron, and the apron, one of my jobs was to melt lead slugs. This was when they had linotype machines where a guy would sit and type, and as he typed, it would make letters, and they would come down and go into a plate. It's kind of hard to describe. And then the plate was set, and it would go onto the press. And you had to then, once it was done, all that lead was dumped. And you have to melt down this lead and make great big ingots again, where they would melt down and be made into little tiny letters again and go through this linotype machine and be made back into print. It was a...
So you recycled the letters?
Recycled the letters. But you would, I worked in the room where you would melt down this stuff to make the ingots. It was kind of fun, but it was really dangerous.
What did you melt it in? Was it an oven?
A giant pot.
Okay.
And then you would pour the lead into a mold, and the ingots were there, and they had a cooling thing that ran water underneath the ingot to cool them, and then you would dump them out on the floor, and eventually they were cool enough to pick up and stack, and they'd go back to the machine, and they'd hang, and they'd go down into a pot on the back of the linotype machine and melt and be formed into letters again as it came out.
Well, how much did those little ingots weigh?
Oh, the ingots didn't weigh that much. They probably weighed 25, 30 pounds apiece.
Did you have to wear gloves?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you had to wear gloves. And they were long gloves. They went up on your arm to protect your arm. And if you threw anything in there that had water on it, it'd explode as it hit the molten metal.
When the lead was in the pot melting, if you got water in there, it would
blow up. I mean, it would pop, and it would blow molten lead out.
Did you ever experience that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've gotten lead on my arms and suffered burns on my arms.
And you would have had other burns if you didn't have your apron.
Oh, if you didn't have your apron, then I think I had goggles.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was the only protection.
How many days a week did you do that?
I did it every day after school.
For how many hours?
Oh, 2 or 3 hours.
And on the weekends?
And on the weekends, sometimes I'd work 8 hours, 10 hours, sometimes, depending on what they were doing.
Have any recollection how much you made doing that?
Oh heavens, it was nothing.
$1 an hour or less?
$1.25 an hour, $1.50 an hour. It certainly wasn't lots of money, but when gas only cost 75 cents or 50 cents a gallon, I could get along on the paycheck that I got.
When you were in high school, did you have a car?
No, I had my parents' car, and then when I was in college, I had a car, and it was a Corvair Spider. So,
do you remember the first car your mom and dad have after you were born?
The first one they ever had?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
What's the first one you remember?
1952 Chevy, I think. And then we had a 55 Chevy. And then we had 2 cars because I started driving, so I think we had a Ford. What was the one that everybody made fun of?
Edsel?
No, not the Edsel. The little one. The one that was a real hazard.
Pinto.
Yeah, Ford Pinto, I think that was it. Yeah,
All right.
yeah, the one that they showed out of in the comic strips of B-52s dropping Pintos on the enemy. It was that bad.
I don't remember that.
It was that bad. It was totally unsafe.
I do remember that they had a propensity to, in a rear-end collision, they would explode and
Yeah.
fire because the bottom of the trunk was the top of the gas tank.
Yeah,
It's very unsafe.
that may have been the same car.
Yeah. Wow. So, did you play any sports? I mean, you're going to school and you're working afterwards.
No, I
time
didn't.
to do
I
any of
didn't
that?
play that. No,
When-
didn't play any high school
When
sports
did
at
you
all.
graduate from North High School?
Graduated 1960.
What did you do after graduation?
Well, went straight on to Ohio State University.
What were you going to study?
Well, I sort of muddled around through freshman year, and I was in agriculture in the agriculture school, and trying to find my life preserver there, trying to figure out what I was going to do, and I finally settled on ornamental horticulture.
All right.
And I had a job at a flower shop and was working as a designer and a sort of a manager part-time at Northern Lights Flowers with a guy named Jim Breidenbaugh. And he'd gone to OSU, and so I worked there part-time and made up my mind I was already committed to ornamental horticulture, so I stayed there and graduated in ornamental horticulture.
Okay.
But it was during a time when everybody it was mandatory that you took 2 years of ROTC. So everybody that went there had to join either the Navy, Army, or Air Force.
Which ROTC?
And I went to the Air Force,
Okay.
obviously. And
So was that
the
your first 2 years, freshman and sophomore?
yeah, and after that, you could commit to 2 more years, and during that 2 years, they paid a small amount every month. I think it was $40 or something. If you went on and with a commitment that you would join the Air Force at the end of your 4 years schooling.
And did you do the 4 years?
And so I decided after 2 years, you took a test to see if you qualified for pilot training. And so I took the test along with everybody else, and I passed. And then I had to go for a physical, and I passed the physical. So as long as you passed the physical and passed the test, you qualified to go to pilot training after your 4 years of schooling.
Well, why did you choose the Air Force?
Well, my dad had been in aircraft for the whole time I grew up. He'd started off even before I was born teaching reciprocated engines. And in the 50s, and I can't remember exactly when in the 50s, he interviewed and got a job as tech rep for North American Aviation. And he became their expert on jet engines, went to school and was one of their lead inspectors and tech reps on jet engines, and worked on the F-86, the F-100, and the RA-5C, which was the Vigilante, which we sold to the Navy between my freshman and sophomore year. We went to Florida for 3 months in the summer when they delivered the first Vigilantes to Sanford Naval Air Station, which is just outside of Orlando. And he was the North American rep that taught the engines and the ejection systems for that aircraft. And he was also the ejection system guy for the F-100.
So you...
So I kind of grew up around a military and a flying operation.
So you said that was between your freshman and sophomore. Was that high school or college?
College.
So your dad must have had a deferment, and he was teaching rather than being in active duty.
Yes, they wouldn't let him join up. He wanted to join, but he couldn't because he was more important to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. Which made my mother very happy, but
I'm sure. So why did you want to be a pilot? Why did you want to go to train to be a pilot?
Isn't that everybody's dream? I mean, be a fighter pilot. I think every young kid grows up with something. I guess you have an idea. Wow, look at that! I'd sure like to be doing that. And you see films and all that kind of stuff. And with my dad's background and being around jets and being around the people that were around jets, it was just kind of second nature that I could, if I qualified to go to pilot training. And I had a young wife right there at the end of my senior year in college. I had a wife to take care of, and I didn't really have a job, and this was a guaranteed job. They weren't going to pay a whole lot, and it sounded like it was something that I could really enjoy doing, and it worked out that it was something that we really both enjoyed. Mm-hmm. So
I have a vague recollection of the Korean War. I was born in '39, so
yeah.
Second World War was going on, but then the Korean War, we had a jet plane called a Sabre jet. Was that the F-86?
That was the F-86.
Okay, and your dad?
The Super Sabre was the F-100.
Okay. All right. So when did you get married?
I got married my senior year in college, so that was 64.
And what was your wife's name?
Oh, my wife's name, is this a trick question? Her name was Matson.
Okay.
Sharon Lynn Matson.
All right. So when did you get out? Where did you go to college? You went to High State?
Yes, I did.
And when did you get out of horticulture school?
In 64.
Okay.
Well, 65. What was it, Sharon? March of 65.
And did you enlist or were you drafted?
No, it was the ROTC program. So you
had signed
neither
up for
one. I was sworn in when I got my degree, and they gave me my degree. They swore me in right during that ceremony.
So you didn't have any choice after doing the 4 years. You had agreed to.
I'd agreed I'd agreed to join up, and they swore me in right during my graduation ceremony, and I got pinned my second lieutenant bars right after I graduated.
What was your first assignment?
First assignment was to Del Rio, Texas.
Where was that?
That's what we said. Anyway, it's that's where all the illegals crossed. Del Rio is 2.5 hours south of San Antonio, right on the border.
All right.
And we took off in our brand new Chevrolet non-air conditioned Impala and headed west with a new baby and 90-degree temperatures outside, no air conditioning.
How'd you afford a new car?
Well, we did it, and how'd we afford to get married? We had an apartment. We eloped. We ran away to Indiana and got married, and we had an apartment already. How much was the rent? $65? $75. And one room apartment. It was about as big as this room here, and had a little kitchen, and it walked around, and there was a bathroom and a one bedroom. And we had that and some furniture from my parents, and we stayed there until I had to leave, and off we went through Indianapolis, Indiana, and headed further west. And we got to Texarkana. We thought, okay, we're almost there.
Oh, that's
Wrong.
still a long way.
Wrong. And we started another whole day's trek to get to Del Rio. Del Rio was a very interesting experience.
Wow.
Del Rio is the oldest winery in Texas is in Del Rio. And they have a spring there, San Felipe Springs, which feeds all the water to the city. And it's a monstrous spring, and it comes up and it flows through the town. And as it flows through the town, it goes through the old section of town, and there's this beautiful, or there used to be, a beautiful section of town where they have floodgates for their yards. And they close the floodgates and flood their yards from the stream, from the spring, and then they open the floodgates and the stream continues, and they can do that. I think it was twice a week they could flood their yards.
And what a spring that was.
Yes, and that's how they watered their lawns. And the spring was just beautiful, fed all the water to the city. And the city was run by a lady named Ella Ricks. Now, Ella's, I'm sure, long gone. But she had the dress shop, she had the hardware store, she had all the apartment buildings and all the apartments that were rentable for us novice pilots to live in. We could not live on the base.
Was that strictly a pilot training base?
It was strictly pilot training, and it still is today. I assume it's still pilot training.
How much did you have to pay for your apartment? Or did the government pay that?
Well, the government paid a little bit of it. We rented a house from Ella. The house was, again, about the size of this room. It was a house. We had our own house. It was 2 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a dining room, if you can believe that, and a kitchen. And there was a window at the far end of the house that you could see from this end of the house. So we put an air conditioner in that window down there. Ella Ricks put in all the electricity for us to hook up a 220 hookup down there, and bought a Sears air conditioner and put it in that window. And it blew up the hall, and it went around through the kitchen and came through the dining room, cooled the entire house.
Nice.
We lived in total air-conditioned comfort in Texas the whole time we were in pilot training.
How long were you in pilot training?
1 year, 13 months to be exact.
What were you training in?
Well, we started our training in a T-37, which is a little small, well, I regress. We started in a T-41, which was a prop-driven airplane. We were the first class to do this. They decided that it was like a T-41, it was like a Cessna 140, 172.
A single wing?
Single engine, small, light aircraft. And they decided it was cheaper to put pilots in this little airplane and decide whether they had any ability at all to fly an airplane. It was a lot cheaper to put them in this little thing and let them go out for 35 hours and fly around, and we could eliminate a bunch of people rather than putting them in a jet and expending a bunch of money flying around in a jet at a lot higher cost and finding out that they can't fly.
How many fellows were in your class down there?
So our class, I think, graduated with, what do we have, about 35 people?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, 35 that got through.
Did you have a lot of guys wash out?
Yes, yeah, well, quite a few washed out. I almost washed out.
Why did you almost wash out?
Yeah, almost washed out.
Why?
I couldn't do something. I can't remember what it was. And suddenly a light illuminated and I could do it. And it was like you had 2 rides and then you had an elimination ride and you were gone. But I passed and continued and got through the T-37 phase and went into T-38s. And T-38 is that little white plane that's over there in that picture, and there's one right there on the model, and it's what the astronauts now fly for their flight proficiency.
Okay.
If they're a pilot, they get to fly a T-38 to maintain their pilot proficiency. It's a little sports car, goes supersonic, does all fully acrobatic. It's impossible to get into a spin. Well, I say impossible. You have to do a maneuver that is totally stupid. You would never do it. Yeah, it's just like full stick forward and full stick aft when you're doing a certain speed, and that throws the thing over, and it goes into an uncontrollable, you have to bail out spin. So you can stall the thing completely, run it out of airspeed, and it'll fall, but it won't spin. It'll just fall like a rock, and you can poke the nose down and recover. It's just a magnificent training airplane. More fun to fly than anything you'd ever imagine.
Now, was that a jet plane or was that still a prop
It's a
plane?
jet. It's a jet.
All right.
Yeah, two engine jet, and totally for training, and just a lot of fun to fly. I love flying with students. I went back after Vietnam, but I'm skipping here a little bit. But after Vietnam, I went back as an instructor in that airplane, and I had more fun instructing students than anything else.
So you were down in Texas for a year, you said?
Uh-huh.
And then where did you go? What was your next assignment?
Next assignment was to Vietnam in F-4s, F-4 fighters.
Before you went to Vietnam, did you have a chance to come home and visit your parents?
Oh yeah. We had 7 months of training. They sent me to Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, which is in Tucson, Arizona, and we lived in an apartment building in Tucson with, at that time, one daughter, and we had another daughter while we were there. And so I was there 7 months in training in the F-4. So I was a backseater at that time, so I had to learn all the radar and navigation systems in the backseat of the F-4, and flew with the same guy that I flew with in Vietnam during all this training. And
Was that a single engine jet?
no, it was 2 engine.
All right.
Yeah, we had 2 engines on the F-4, 2 engines on the wait a minute. 2 engines on the 111. F-4 only had 1 engine. I'm sorry. All mixed up here. 1 engine on the F-4.
Okay.
And so we went through the training there, and of course I had to relocate Sharon and the 2 girls. So we came back to Columbus and found an apartment for her to stay in while I went to Vietnam.
What part of Columbus did she stay in? Up in the north end?
Up in the north end. We had found an apartment in the north end of Columbus, close to both families. So sort of halfway in between them. So
Where did you go to Vietnam from? New Mexico, Arizona, Texas? Where did you leave from?
well, from Arizona, I relocated Sharon, and basically I left from Arizona and dropped off Sharon, and then went to the airport and flew to the West Coast and picked up an airplane and flew to Cameron Bay.
Where in Columbus did you fly from?
From Columbus Airport.
Columbus General Airport?
Yeah.
Now, you flew into Cambron Bay?
Yes. Eventually we got to Cameron Bay.
And when you went to Cambron Bay, did you fly commercial or strictly a
It was commercial, but it was a commercial contract plane. So it was a stretch 727 something stretch jet. So it held 108 people or something.
is there any glare? Can you see that okay?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. While we have this, when you flew into Cameron, where else did you go? Or did you stay in Cameron all the time?
Stayed at Cameron the whole time.
Did you have any field assignments outside of Cameron?
Well, I was at Cameron until the Pueblo got taken. When the Pueblo got taken, I was redeployed. Our entire squadron was deployed to Kunsan, Korea.
So that's the only, Cameron Bay is the only place we need to map for?
Yeah.
All right. How long were you at Cameron?
I was at Cameron for 9 months.
What kind of
Just a little over 9 months.
What kind of accommodations did you have?
Oh, luxury hotel, don't you know? You lived in a Quonset hut.
Okay.
Which we modeled. It had rooms inside the Quonset hut.
Okay.
A long hall down the middle, and rooms. Usually you had 2 men in each room. So we had 3 in our room, and that was just fine. The rooms were big enough. Some rooms were bigger than other rooms. And we had wall lockers. Everybody had a wall locker and a bunk bed. Bunk beds were usually at the ends, and then the middle was open. And obviously you had a sloped wall on the outside that ended, and there were no windows or anything. So
What'd you do for air conditioning? Or
we had 1 air conditioner in each room, so we did have air conditioning. So
well, the temperature over there was generally pretty hot.
it generally was pretty hot. So
While you were there, did you have any monsoons or typhoons?
the monsoon season was lasted, and I can't remember the months, but it lasted for like 2 or 3 months, and it was over. But it rained a lot, and was real windy. If you went to the coast to swim or go to the beach, you kind of couldn't get in the water because the waves were pretty high.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, it was just rained a lot.
Well, the Quonset hut was arch-shaped.
Yep,
building.
just an arch-shaped building with paneling down the center on 2 sides to make a hall with doors and separated off into rooms.
Did you have any protection from mortars or air?
Not in the Quonset hut. So outside we had some some sand bunkers that were in total disarray because at Cameron, the bay separated Cameron itself, where we stayed, and the mainland. So the mainland was protected by Koreans. Now, I will say that Asians don't fight the same way Americans fight.
Well, give me an example of that.
Asians treat Asians the same way Asians treated us. Very badly if you were caught by the enemy.
Did you ever observe how Koreans treated any of the captives?
I never saw it, but I heard a lot of stories, and that I can't swear that the stories were true. And that involved throwing people out of airplanes and some other horrible things. But the Koreans were on the shore side, the land side, and we were on the ocean side, and we were never attacked by mortars at all until the Koreans were moved away, and we suffered the first mortar attack, and the only damage that was done to the far side of our runway, and that's where the C-130s were, and almost a mile away from where we were.
What kind of a plane was the C-130?
C-130 is a transport, 4-engine transport.
Transporting troops or supplies or both?
Everything. Yeah,
Okay.
everything you can stuff in it. So, drop flares at night, they do everything.
Do you have any knowledge of why the Koreans moved from the
I have no
land
idea.
side?
Have no idea why they moved them.
Did you interact with any of the Koreans?
Nope, not until I went to Korea.
All right.
Not until the Pueblo was taken.
Tell me about your average day while you were there at Cameron Bay. What time would you get up, and what?
Depended on whether we were night flying or day flying. If we were day flying, we'd get up at 7 o'clock and go to breakfast at the mess hall, which was in the officers club, and they had a big officers mess, and we'd eat, and then we'd go to the squadron and check our flights, and if we were on the schedule, we would prepare for our flight, which involved checking where it was, who we were flying with, and getting set for a briefing. If we weren't flying, we would go back to do whatever we wanted to do.
Was the meal any better on days you were going to fly than it was?
No, the meals were always standard. Breakfast was always the same. You could have omelets. They make omelets. You could have fried eggs. You could have boiled eggs. You could have bacon. You could have. It was pretty standard breakfast, and it was good.
What was your rank over there?
First lieutenant.
Who was fixing the meals and who was serving the meals?
Just enlisted troops that worked in the mess.
Didn't have any Vietnamese.
No. We had Vietnamese that were working cleaning up. They came in and they cleaned the latrines. They cleaned anything the kitchens they would clean.
They cleaned your rooms?
No, they did not get in our rooms at all. They weren't in our living quarters at all, although they were in the latrines.
And the mess hall and anything on the base that needed cleaned up except the personal.
Yeah, they weren't in our personal spaces.
What kind of plane were you flying over there?
The F-4.
Was that a single pilot?
No,
You had a crewman on the
there were
F4?
two pilots,
Side by side or front and back?
front and back. So,
What was the front man? Was he the main pilot?
yeah, he could drop the bombs. We couldn't drop from behind because we couldn't see out the front. So
What'd you call the first pilot?
he was the aircraft commander.
Okay. And the fella behind him was called what?
Well, we were called a WISO, a weapons system operator.
Okay.
So, but we were all pilots. Most of us were pilots. Some were navigators, but most of us were pilots.
So did you actually fly the F4?
I flew I was very fortunate. The gentleman that I flew with, John Manier, had been an instructor pilot in Air Training Command for a long time. And so he let me do everything. I was not allowed to refuel from the back seat. I did all the refuelings. I was supposed to just do the radar and keep my mouth shut. And he let me handle all the radio calls. He let me call for if we were coming back from a mission and we had ordnance that we hadn't expended. He let me call and find out if we could find another target to use our guns on, and he let me do everything. So I flew a lot of stuff from the back seat that I wasn't supposed to fly. I didn't go around telling everybody I did it, but I was allowed to do it. And thankfully I learned a lot about flying. And if I'd have been in the front seat, I probably would have been dead. Luckily I had him as a aircraft commander.
So now, why do you say you would have been dead?
Well, that year was a really unbelievably intense learning period. And I learned a lot about flying and a lot about what you can do and what you can't do and what's smart and what's not smart. And I saw a lot of people get killed doing dumb things.
Give me an example of that.
Well, just people over stressing their airplanes and overstressing their capabilities and driving their airplane into the ground. I can't give you, I won't give you specific examples, but some people doing really dumb things and breaking airplanes that shouldn't have gotten broke.
Do you know how many, did you keep track of how many missions you flew?
Oh yeah.
How many did you fly?
239 combat missions. I wanted 250, but I couldn't get there because they took me out of the combat realm and sent me to Korea.
Oh. So, why did you want 250?
It's because I wanted that patch. These patches up there on the wall. 200 combat missions in the F4, and I would have gotten 250 if I'd have gotten a few more missions. Wouldn't have taken but 2 weeks.
So how many missions did you have to fly to earn each patch?
Well, 100 missions and then 200 missions. So the other one would have been 250 missions.
Did you have the same pilot with you every time you went?
Not always, no. I got my Distinguished Flying Cross flying with the wing commander. And I was, I don't want to say an outstanding backseater because I wanted to be in the front seat after a while. But I was a pretty good backseater, so they sent me with the wing commander to fly, and he was terrible. And anyway, I happened
Could he not maneuver the plane as well as...
He was not a very competent pilot. And I had to pull the airplane out one time that I was firmly convinced I wouldn't get back to see my wife again if I hadn't grabbed the stick and pulled the airplane out.
What was going on?
It was a dive. We were dropping bombs, and we were well below the altitude for pullout. and he was pressing the target, and we were in an area where you did not press the target, or you were good chance you weren't coming back. And I pulled the stick and bumped the stick and bumped the stick, and he didn't react, and I just pulled the stick and started to pull out.
How close to the ground were you?
We
pulling
went
out?
pretty close to the ground, and he threw bombs all over the place, but we were really close to the ground.
Well, I interviewed a.
He didn't like it, but I was firmly convinced we would have died. And
I interviewed I think it was an F-100 pilot, and he talked about target focus. Do you think that your commander had that?
he thought he was the best fighter pilot in the world, and I knew he wasn't.
Mm-hmm. How many times did you have to fly with him?
Oh, I flew with him about 10 times.
10 too many, huh?
10 too many. Yes, he was.
Tell me about the.
He just wasn't a very, you got to be kind of intimate when you're flying with some guy that you both could get killed. It's kind of like you and I are buddies here. Whether you want to be buddies with me or not, I don't care, but you should be, because I'm going to keep your ass from getting killed, and you're going to keep mine from getting killed. We're working together here, but he didn't work together.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to just do it all by himself.
Uh-huh.
He didn't care that I was back there. He knew I had to be back there, but he didn't want me there.
Just kind of wanted to ignore you.
Yeah, and it was just kind of.
Well, tell me about your Distinguished Flying Cross.
I was with him.
Well, tell me about it.
Yeah, and I finally found the. I don't know if I earned it. We finally found the write-up, but the write-up was kind of. It wasn't what really happened. What really happened is we were flying just a normal mission. And in an area called Chapone, which was a junction of trails coming from Thailand and North Vietnam and out of Cambodia, and all these trails come together at one spot, and then they break off and went down through Cambodia and stayed in Cambodia, and then would branch down into South Vietnam. Or they'd go into North Vietnam right at the DMZ, or they'd go across and come down the coastal portion of Vietnam, South Vietnam. So they branched all from one kind of central spot. And we were bombing right there, and of course they figured out that all those junctions, there'd be lots of trucks and lots of movement of enemy forces and equipment through there, so they stationed lots of guns there. So
was that a pass-like area?
no, it wasn't really a pass.
Okay.
It was in a valley like.
Okay.
And
Heavy.
there had been a pilot shot down in the area, and they were sending in helicopters to rescue him. And we had expended ordnance, and our ordnance was on a target in that area. I can't even remember what the target was, but we had expended our ordnance, and we had some 20 millimeter rounds left. And the helicopters were coming in, and all these guns were active. So we were rolling in on these guns, these active guns, to have the guns shoot at us rather than the helicopters. Because the helicopters were easy targets.
Yeah.
They're low and slow, and they're coming in to get a guy that's on the ground. and we're trying to take the fire. Well, we're out of bullets now. We've made a couple passes on sights, and I'm pointing out guns that I can see. He can't see them because he's flying the airplane. He can't see the gun sights. I can see the gun sights. I can see the flashes from the barrels of the guns. And so I'll guide this dummy in front to tell him where the guns are. And so he's rolling in on active guns, and you never do this, but we were doing it. And we're rolling in and we're aiming straight down at guns that are shooting at us, but we haven't got anything to shoot at them with. So it sounds like a great procedure, huh?
Oh, it sounds
Oh yeah, real smart procedure. So,
like a kamikaze attack.
Seriously, that's pretty much what it was. So we're flying down, and I can see stuff flying over the top of us, and you can see the tracers, and the tracers are going over the cockpit and around us, and we pull off, and I say, well, you got another gun over here at 12 o'clock, or you got one at 7 o'clock, or you got one at wherever. And so brake this direction, and he'd brake left or brake right. And I'd say, turn around here, and there's a gun sight. Can you see them? They're right there in that greenest area there. There's a clump of trees all by itself. And he'd go, yeah, that's where they are. And then he'd say, oh, okay, I got a flash. And so we'd run in on that gun. And so we just did that until they said, they've got the pilot, and the helicopters were going out, so we quit. So we left.
That's amazing that you made that.
Well, yeah. So anyway, we go back, and I didn't think much about it. We got shot at a lot of missions, so okay, big deal. So it was like a month and a half later, at least. And we're flying nights now, my squadron is. So I'm sleeping during the day, because we're flying at night. And they come in and they wake me up. It says, get in your Class A's and get down to the wing headquarters. You're getting an award. And I said, I'm getting an award? Yeah, you got to be down there in your Class A's. Okay.
Class A's are uniform.
Yeah, your blues, and with all your medals and your rank, and you look really cool. So that's the one the girls like, other than the flight suit. They like the flight suit too. So anyway, I get all dressed and go down to the wing headquarters, and I show up, get up here in the line, and the wing commander's there, and there's some general there, and a whole bunch of dignitaries, and they go down the line and they're pinning medals on people and reading off stuff, and they get to me and they start reading this thing. You get the Distinguished Flying Cross for blah, 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 blah. And they pin a Distinguished Flying Cross on me, and oh, that was neat. They just, that's the end of it. And the general shakes my hand, and I go back to bed. Go back to sleep, put my Class A's, hang them back in my locker, and go back to sleep.
But that's a pretty nice award.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice award. Yeah,
They just don't have that out to everybody.
no, they don't. But but it was like it was a blur, to say the least. I mean, I didn't recognize the fact that it was such a good award and what it meant, really, until long after I got it.
Well, I mean,
And
well, let me ask you this: when you're flying up there, and you have no ammunition, and you're trying to redirect the fire on your plane, were there other planes up there with you?
no,
So you're the only plane,
we're the only plane.
and you guys are saving the helicopter.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing. Now, when you said you had gotten rid of your ordnance, were those rockets?
I don't even remember what we were carrying. I just don't remember. I know we didn't carry rockets. because the rocket pods would have been a real hindrance.
What kind of ordnance? Did you have bombs?
We had bombs, yeah.
What size bombs?
But I don't remember what size bombs we had. Sometimes we carried 250-pound bombs.
Were they carried under the wings or in the...
Under the wings, nothing internal. 250-pound bombs to 500-pound bombs. 500-pound bombs, we couldn't go very far. So we probably did not have 500-pound bombs on that mission, because to fly from Cameron to Chapone, it was a pretty good distance. If we did have 500-pound bombs, we would have had to refuel on the way back, and we did not refuel. So we probably had 250-pound bombs.
And the pilot up front is the only one that can release those bombs?
I can release them, but I wouldn't know where the hell they were going. In other words, he has the pipper and has the thing to position where the bombs are going to go in front of him. I can't see that from the back seat.
Right.
I can see the back of his seat and the back of his head, and I can see around him, but I can't see through his windscreen in front. So I'm kind of looking around the side, but looking straight ahead I can't see. So he can only see where the pipper is. I can't see that.
So what order would he give?
So I could drop the bombs though. If I hit the switch, my stick looks exactly like the guy in the fronts.
What would be his order for you to drop the bomb?
Well, he wouldn't order me to drop the bombs. He would never tell me to drop the bombs.
But you
I guess he would if I was going to jettison them, and he couldn't jettison them, and he wanted me to get rid of them. I could push the button and get rid of them out over the ocean somewhere, but we'd have no idea where the bombs were going to go if I pushed the button.
Well, let me take you on a bombing run. He can see the target, but you can't see through him.
No, I can't see through him.
What is the scenario for the bombs to be dropped? Does he push the stick and the bombs go?
Uh-huh.
All right.
I'm not flying the plane at that time.
Yeah.
He is.
But you could be the one who hits the button and drops the bomb.
I could be, yeah.
But did that ever occur?
No.
How many rounds of bullets did you carry?
I think the gun held 1,200 rounds.
Were they in the wings or in the front?
1,200. 1,200 comes to mind. It's not a whole lot, and you can expend them in about 2 seconds. So it's not that fast, but very quickly. The gun just goes hum, and the bullets come out like mad. It's a Vulcan, so it's a Gatling gun, basically, hydraulically driven Gatling gun, and it pumps out bullets at an amazing rate.
Now, is that in the front cone or is that on the wings?
It's on the wing. It's a wing-mounted 20 millimeter.
Okay. Now, on the normal mission, how many planes would go out?
Normal mission 2.
And would your pilot be in command of the 2 planes?
Yes, he would direct 2, but 2 would be. There's an aircraft commander in both airplanes, but one guy's in charge of the entire flight.
No.
So the guy in the lead airplane, say we had to divert, the guy in the lead airplane makes that decision, and both airplanes would go. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah.
He's my wingman, but he's obviously independent when he's dropping bombs.
Sure.
I go in, then he goes in. So he's dropping bombs after me. So he may be coming in from a different heading. They may say, lead, you go in this way, and 2, you go in this way, depending on what the target is. But we join up and fly together back to the base or not back to the base, go somewhere to refuel, or we go to a tanker and refuel. But somebody's in command of the entire flight.
Were there the area where all these trails join together and then disperse in different locations, was that a pretty heavily defended location?
Oh, yes, yeah.
How many missions did you have in that?
Oh, not very many. Not very many.
Tell me about the percentage of flights you have at night versus the day.
Oh, well, there were, I know there were 2 squadrons there at Cameron, and our squadron, 2 or 3 squadrons. Anyway, our squadron was, we were supposed to rotate nights. So our squadron would fly at night then for a month. And then another squadron would fly at night for a month. And then another squadron would fly at night for a month. And then we'd get it again. So you wouldn't fly at night all the time. It was a rotational thing for the entire squadron to do it, because your body has to get used to it. And then you get used to flying at night and dropping bombs at night and doing all the stuff you got to do at night that's different than daytime. Like refueling at night is different than daytime. So our squadron was on nights. We flew 30 days at night, and we were really good at it. And everybody, no mistakes, we really did well. The next squadron takes over, and the first night they bombed a bridge that is, they called it Freedom Bridge. Anyway, it was a bridge over some little river that ran along the DMZ that was in territory that nobody, it's like the DMZ in Korea. It's a no-fight zone. The bridge is sacred. Don't drop any bomb. They bombed the bridge. And they bombed in areas where they were not supposed to bomb. So
Any repercussions from that?
yeah. They got out of night bombing, and we got sent back to night bombing. So we bombed at night for 2 months.
Now, you mentioned the DMZ a couple of times. Is that the demilitarized zone?
Yeah,
And you weren't supposed to be doing any bombing or any attacks?
You never did anything in there.
But the enemy would still come and go.
Well, I guess they did, yeah. Don't ask me. I'm not a politician. I don't know how they decide stuff like this.
Well, when you weren't flying, what were your duties around base?
I was the security guy, so I had to check on the safe and make sure that all the top secret and secret data was being handled in an appropriate manner, was locked up appropriately and stored appropriately, and had the proper stuff ready to we had a thermite grenade that was to be activated on top of the safe and destroy everything in the safe if we were overrun by the VC. So that was my job. And it took quite a bit of time. And other than that, we were on our own. You flew, and we'd have squadron meetings where we'd discuss tactics or stuff that was happening in other squadrons and stuff that was happening in the war. And then we'd have free time, and we'd go to the beach, or we'd go. They had places where you could record records, and you could call home, and you could do all kinds of different things. So basically, you were on your own.
At the end of a mission,
and we had times where, you can have a week off. You can go wherever you want to go. So you could go over and see if you could get on one of the flights going to anywhere. Go back to Hawaii or go to, I came home once, or you could go to, we went to Hong Kong, went to Bangkok, went to, it was a...
Philippines at all?
Well, we were started in the Philippines, went to jungle survival school in the Philippines. So...
Well, at the end of a mission, did each aircraft have to make its own report on what?
Yeah, we went to a debriefing
And was that just an oral report, or did you have to write one out?
it was oral.
And who did that on your plane?
We had intelligence guys that were there, and their job was to debrief us on all our flights.
But both of you got debriefed?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we debriefed together.
Okay.
Yeah.
While you were there, did you have any entertainment from anybody from the USO?
Yes, Bob Hope came the day that we took off to go to Hong Kong. So we saw Bob Hope on the stage as we were taking off, headed for Hong Kong.
But you didn't get to...
But we didn't get to see Bob Hope. So yeah, they had USO folks coming all the time and giving shows, and you could go down and watch them, and we usually didn't go.
I heard some of the entertainers were Filipinos.
Oh yeah, there were lots of Koreans that came to entertain. Whether it was, yeah.
How about medical facilities? Did you have a base hospital?
We didn't have a base hospital. We had we had an infirmary.
Was that in a Quonset hut?
Yeah, it was. They had to fly you out if you were really seriously injured. They'd fly you to the Philippines. But if you were, they had some doctors, so it wasn't terrible. But they had a couple doctors, and funny story. A guy worked for me that was the first Air Force guy wounded in Vietnam, and he came to the Cam Ranh Bay Hospital when he was wounded. He was throwing flares at night out the back of a C-130. Now he was doing this because they were lighting up an area so the Army could come in with helicopters and shoot or do whatever they were going to do. And his C-130 was flying around above him, and they were throwing out these flares. Well, he was standing on the ramp on the back of the C-130. The ramp was down, and he was standing on the ramp. Now he had a OSHA vest on, and he had a parachute on, and he was tied onto the thing, so he had to disconnect if he was going to use his parachute if something happened. But he had a parachute on, and he was hooked into the airplane. So he got hit with a 50 cal round, and it went up the back of his thigh and went all the way up into his rear end. And so this 50 caliber shell is in his ass, and he thought the plane had been shot down. So he was going to jump off the back, out the back. He was going to disconnect and jump out the back with his parachute. And the guys grabbed the hook, the line he was on, and yanked him and pulled him back into the plane. And they landed at Cam Ranh and took him in the hospital. So he's in the hospital, and this general comes running in. This is his story, not mine. But anyway, he comes in, and they're trying to figure out what to do with his bullet and how to get it out. And this general runs in and has a Purple Heart. And because he's the first Air Force guy to get a Purple Heart, they want to pin it on him. and they have a steel rod, and it's run up. It's this bullet hole up the back of his leg, and they're pounding on this thing, and this general's pinning a Purple Heart on him while he's laying on this table, and the doctor's trying to find the bullet. Anyway, he was a hoot. He was a hoot.
Oh, Lord.
Oh yeah. As soon as I got my Purple Heart, and he tells his story, and you're just rolling laughing, and he's just funny as heck. So anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted with
You did.
somebody else's story, but the sequel to that is when he went back home. He, as a kid, he'd been on a motorcycle, and his right leg was all bummed up. He had been in a motorcycle wreck, so his right leg was a mess. And he was an avid jogger, and anyway, his right leg was, he'd pull up his pant leg, and it would just, oh my God. So anyone would say, well, how'd you get wounded to get the Purple Heart? And they shot you in the leg, and he'd pull up his pant leg and show him
The right
leg. And they go, oh golly. Oh yeah.
Well, you had well over 200 missions. Now, were all those attack missions, or did you go in to help our soldiers that had been surrounded or were about to be surrounded for extractions?
Oh yeah, close air support.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a number of close air support missions, lots of them in South Vietnam. And not so many in North Vietnam. Our guys weren't up there running around. But in South Vietnam, we had a lot of close air support missions.
Now,
With
what was your range? Without refueling, how far could your
it depended on the
what you're carrying?
what you're carrying. If you're carrying 750 pounders, if you got 6 of them, you could go to the DMZ and back, which is if you dropped your bombs right away, which you usually did if you went north. You didn't drop 2 at a time or anything. You didn't make multiple passes. You'd make one pass and you were out of there. So I don't know what that distance is.
500 miles?
Yeah, 500 mile total. And you'd have to refuel. And a lot of times we would make multiple passes knowing that we'd have to refuel. But there were lots of places to refuel. We could stop at different bases along the way, Marine bases and other Air Force bases, and pull in, and we could hot refuel, which means we'd pull into their refueling pit, and they'd have these refueling pits that would take the airplane. You'd pull in, you'd shut down one engine, the engine where the refueling coupling went, and they'd hook the airplane up, refuel while one engine was still running, and then they disconnect, and you'd restart the right engine or left engine depending on whether they were refueling. I can't remember which side it was. You'd restart the engine and just taxi back out to the runway and take off and go home. So we could do either an air refueling if the tankers were there, and a lot of times the tankers weren't there, so we'd have to land at some other base.
Did you ever do a refueling by a tanker at night?
Oh yes.
Well, but that was a...
That's well, another funny story. Another story. When I went back to Vietnam and flew 13 more missions in an F-111 at Tak Lee, Thailand.
Oh, this is after you had been to Korea.
After I'd been to Korea, and no, this is long after I went to then I was in 111s. And I volunteered to go back at the end of the war in 72, 73 time frame. I volunteered to go back and fly in a 111. And my first mission in the 111 was with 24 500-pound bombs under the wings in a 111, which is that thing there. And 24 500-pound is a lot of bombs. And I wasn't ready. I was flying with an experienced right-seater who's the radar guy, a navigator. And the A model is the most underpowered of the F-111 models. And I was used to the D model where I was stationed at Clovis. And the D model has a lot more power than the A model. And I put the thing in afterburner and let go of the brakes, and the plane goes boom, boom, as we're going down the runway. And it's like your car where you got the seams in the road. It's bumping over every one of them. And I'm going, holy cow. And the right seater says, oh, I should have warned you about the takeoff roll. I said, thanks loads. So we get airborne. We have to download fuel to take off, because with 24 500-pounders, you exceed the takeoff limit of the airplane. So they have to download fuel. So we have to take off and go find a tanker, and this is at night, and refill. So now we got this monstrous load, and we join up with the tankers at night. That's an experience. We get behind the tanker, and the tanker can only go so fast. So say it can go 350, and I think that's an exaggeration. And if we go 350, we're darn near falling out of the sky with all those bombs. And so the airplane is like this already, and these guys are almost falling out of the sky. We can't go any slower or any faster, and we can't go any slower. So we have to put one engine in afterburner. Never done this before in my life. Oh yes, sir, you have to fly with one engine in afterburner to refuel at night with all this load. And I said, oh, thanks again. So I put one in afterburner, and then I'm flying with one in afterburner and flying this thing to refuel.
Well, how can you see the boom from the tanker? I mean,
The boom's lit.
Okay.
The boom has a light on the end of it.
All right.
So you can see this light coming down, and then it goes, the boom comes up and down, sideways, not too far sideways, and then it goes in and out.
Okay.
Your refueling probe on the F-111 is behind your head.
Behind the cockpit?
Yeah, behind the cockpit. It's not up here in front of you where you could see the thing. It's behind your head. So you kind of fly and it goes over your head. And I mean literally just right over your head.
So you're trying to keep your plane steady, and the guy in the refueling tanker is guiding the
boom,
yeah.
and then plugs into this thing that pops up out of it just pops up like this, and there's a thing, and he puts it in there, and then when he's done, it disconnects, and that thing goes back down and is flush with the top of the airplane. So there are, as soon as you connect all these lights on the bottom, and they're on, but they're controlled by the guy that's flying the boom. And when it hooks up, they're automatically controlled, and there is a series of lights on the bottom of the tanker. And the lights there's captain's bars, which means you're right where you should be, forward and aft and up and down. And as you go out of limits, either forward and aft or up and down, these lights change. they go from yellow to red, and you don't want that, and so you back up or you go forward, whatever you have to do, or up or down. And so you can watch the lights then. Once it's connected, you just watch the lights, and you just fly along and watch the lights.
Is that the first time you had refueled at night?
No, not the first time I'd refueled at night, but the first time I ever refueled with that much ordnance on board and putting one in afterburner. So
I don't know if you can move the camera so you can show, lift the tripod up or whatever, try to show that, and that's the F-111?
that's the 111 up there, that model, yeah.
Can you see that? All right, thank you. How many times did you fly in that?
Well, I got 1,000 hours in it, but flying combat hours, I got 13 missions.
Okay.
And
How'd that compare to the F-4 that you had been flying, as far as maneuverability and?
oh, it's a completely different airplane. And I didn't do any dive bombing with it at all. It's a magnificent airplane for flying at night. Some friends of mine, one got a DFC for destroying a line of supply vehicles along the Ho Chi Minh Trail at night in a 111. They were actively driving because they thought nobody could get them at night, and they came in at low level. We can fly that airplane. Well, the plane flies itself 250 to 500 to 1,000 feet above the ground, depending on your settings. Hands off at 500 miles an hour. And it flies above the terrain and maintains your altitude. Really an interesting plane. Well, they had a load of bombs, and they came in at night and were able to go right down the line of vehicles, right over the top of them. They didn't even suspect there was anybody that could do this, and came in and dropped bombs right down the line of them, destroyed them all.
Where was your mission where you had all those 500-pounders?
Into Cambodia, surprisingly.
We weren't in Cambodia or Laos.
Yeah, we weren't, but we were.
What was your target?
I don't know. Literally, I don't know. We were doing offset bombing, which is a strange procedure where you have a designated spot on your radar, and you use that, and you have a setting that is so many thousands of feet away from that designated spot, and you are dropping bombs on a spot you don't even know what it is. And you're flying over here, but your radar's on this spot over here. So it's, and one of the spots was the embassy in Phnom Penh. And the guy controlling me was under a table in the embassy in Phnom Penh.
Oh, really?
Yes. He says, please make sure you're in offset, which means I'm not flying directly over him. I'm on the offset. Please confirm you're in offset. We're in offset. Yeah. Well, I'm under a table here in the embassy, so.
So, how many months were you in Vietnam before you went to Korea? 9?
Yes, it had to be. it was taken in January, I think, and we left in February. So it was right January, February time frame when the Pueblo got taken and we deployed. So
Where did you go in Korea?
first we went to Kunsan, which was right on the Yellow Sea, and a squadron from Seymour Johnson was there also. So we had 2 squadrons of F-4s at this tiny base, and they decided this is pretty stupid. We have all our airplanes at one spot lined up on the runway. One pass by an enemy plane and he could take out, 50 airplanes. So probably not smart. So we're going to deploy one of these squadrons. So they deployed us to Daegu, which was sort of in the middle of the country. And it was a resort, considering we were in Cam Bay. And it made Sharon very happy because I was no longer getting shot at. So, and we knew somebody in the squadron from Seymour Johnson, that was good friends from pilot training, were in that squadron. So she had somebody come. Didn't Barbie come to visit?
Yeah, Barbie's been so
She came to Sharon's house. So the girls were together when we were over there. But I spent till my time in Vietnam ran out in April. I came back home then. So it was
So how long were you over in Korea? Just
2.5 months or 2 months, yeah.
What were your duties there?
We just flew missions behind. We flew 6.5-hour missions behind a C-130 that had cables out the back that flew up and down the DMZ, getting communications data out of North Vietnam or North Korea. And the cables were monstrous. You could see them out the back of the 130. And we were flying like this behind them, back and forth, with sparrows and air-to-air missiles on. That's all we carried. It was all air-to-air in case the Koreans decided to try and shoot this guy down. So we were just flying back and forth behind him until we reached the stage where we needed refueling, and then we would call bingo. 2 guys that were on a tanker would top off and they'd come take our place. We'd go to the tanker, fill up, and we'd wait for them to run out of gas. We'd fill up, we'd go back, fly cover behind the C-130. Or we'd fly out over the ocean behind a ship called the Star Banner, which was a sister ship of the Pueblo, looked just like the Pueblo, and they were sailing right up Wonsan Harbor, and we could look up Wonsan Harbor and look clear up in the harbor. And we were protecting that ship in case they decided to come out and take another boat, which was doing the same thing the Pueblo was doing, gathering data from their radio and communications systems.
Did you have any contact with North Koreans?
We could see them on our radar. We could
But you
see
didn't
their
have
MiGs, but they never crossed the DMZ. They never came anywhere
Why
close
did
to
you
us.
volunteer to go back to Vietnam?
Because I hadn't been an aircraft commander when I went the first time.
So when you go back for the 13 missions, you're a commander?
Yeah, I was an aircraft commander. Yeah.
What was your rank then?
Was I a major or lieutenant colonel?
Major.
Major.
When did you get promoted to major?
Oh heavens.
In Vietnam or Korea?
No, neither one. I think we were at Vance,
Yeah, Vance.
Vance, as an instructor.
So you were a major when you went over to Vietnam?
Not when I went to Vietnam, no, I was a first lieutenant.
Did you get any promotions while you were in Vietnam?
No, came back and I made captain right after I started at as an instructor.
Oh, okay. So
I made captain right then. So then there was major at 10 years, and then lieutenant colonel at, I don't know, 17, or whenever you could make it. First time it was.
when you
17.
came back from Korea to Vietnam, were you assigned again to Cam Ranh Bay? For those 13 combat missions?
No. I was
Right.
at Tak Lee, Thailand. I was in Thailand.
We weren't in Thailand.
Uh-huh.
How big a base did we have in Thailand?
We had lots of bases in Thailand,
Okay.
all during Vietnam. We had Tak Lee, we had Karat, we had... No, that's Korea.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, what's the other one? The B-52s were at. B-52s flew out of Thailand, but I can't remember what the base was.
What were your
Our-
accommodations there?
It was a building, but it might have. With a long hall, it was just a regular dormitory, but it was just a single story building, and a long hall down the middle of it with rooms on either side.
Was it wooden frame or was it?
No, it was.
Brick or
It was.
Concrete
Heck,
block?
I don't remember. Concrete block. It was. Yeah, it had to be concrete block. And I had my own room.
In any of your flights, was your aircraft ever hit and or were you ever injured?
I was never injured, but our airplane was hit at least. Oh heavens! 6 or 7 times.
Did you ever have to make any emergency landings because of being hit?
No.
Were you hit by anti-aircraft or small arms?
Both. We had bullet holes in the airplane and bigger stuff that hit. I don't know what it was. 37 millimeter in the tail and in the wing. All of which just punctured holes in, but didn't puncture anything that caused the airplane to,
Have any?
that we even knew it. Sometimes until we post-flighted, sometimes the crew chief would run up and say, hey, you got hit here in the back or whatever. If we were flying in a 2-ship, we'd check each other over. Sometimes even doing that, you would miss it if it was hitting some spots where you just couldn't see it. So unless it affected flight controls or some system that caused a light to light up in the cockpit, you just didn't know you were hit.
Were you over there when Jane Fonda came over, or did you hear about Jane Fonda?
Oh, I heard all about Jane Fonda, yeah.
What was the general reaction to that?
No, everybody just kind of laughed about it, and it's just, what a bitch. I mean, what do you say? You can't stop her, she's just stupid. Just,
If I were to ask you, which I am asking you, what is the most significant, memorable mission that you had over there?
The most memorable mission I had over there. Boy, that's a tough one. Huh. Now, I guess the most memorable mission I had was the one where our wingman got shot down, and that's kind of stupid, but it's just memorable because it's lasted for so long.
Mm-hmm.
We were flying in the Delta, the Mekong, close to the Mekong River. And I don't even know what the target was. We had rocket pods, both of us. Rocket pods, you have to get rid of them after you expend the rockets. The rocket pod itself is aerodynamic to start with. It's got a cone on the front, and it looks nice and smooth. But when you fire the rockets go through that cone and leave a big, flat, non-aerodynamic surface.
Yeah.
On top of that, you want to get rid of them because you want to get rid of them in a spot where the VC can't get them, because sometimes there's unexpended ordnance inside. The rockets don't fire, some of them.
Uh-huh.
So you got 24 rockets in this thing, and there's a big whoosh and they all go off. But then sometimes 2 or 3 of them don't go off, and they're stuck in there. So the enemy gets a hold of that, and they make an IUD out of it, and some poor GI steps on it and blows his leg off. So you get rid of them over water, or so where they sink, or someplace where the VC can't get them.
Uh-huh.
So we had expended our rockets on some target, and I can't remember what the target was. But we pulled up, and we're up high, and 2 goes in and it's down over the river, and all of a sudden I see 2 parachutes, and the plane crashes in the river. And they were shot down by small arms fire from the sides in the jungle. They flew over and at low so they could drop the pods right in the river, and low caliber bullets shot them down. And so they both bailed out and landed in the river. The backseater was never recovered, was probably shot in he was shot in the parachute coming down.
Uh-oh.
And landed in the river, and the parachute and the body sank. The guy in front, his name was Willie Sakahara.
Good Irishman.
Yeah, a good Irishman. Anyway, Willie was a captain at the time, an Air Force Academy graduate, and really a great guy. But he was Japanese, and when the patrol boats came out, those boats that John Kerry drove around, those little naval PT things that they had all along the Mekong, was Navy guys, and they came out to pick him up, and they thought he was Vietnamese, and they weren't going to pick him up until he strew out a liturgy of 4-letter words that only an American would use. And they said, "Oh, he's an American, get him up." So they pulled him in the boat, and Willie got back. Well, Willie was all worried that the backseater hadn't had time to get out because it was just seconds, and they were so low. And I said, "No, I saw a parachute, and both parachutes, he got out. And you gave him time to get out. It wasn't you." He was afraid that he hadn't given him time to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And I confirmed that he got out. So anyway, the body was never recovered until about 3 years ago.
3 years ago from today?
Well, yeah, about
Roughly.
3 years, roughly. And I get a call from Willie. And I can't even remember the backseater's name. And Willie said, the family just called me and wants me to talk at his funeral. And I said, what? And he said, a fisherman caught the parachute and brought up portions of this gentleman's body from 1967 and found this kid's parachute. And they were having a funeral for him. And they wanted Willie. The kid had only been in the squadron 2 days.
Oh, no.
And so nobody really knew him. Nobody, he just got in there and, how are you? Here's your room. And here's your first flight. And the poor kid just, nobody knew him at all. Just sad. It's just really sad.
Well. So, where did you leave Vietnam from? What air base did you come from?
Well, I went from Daegu back to Cam Bay. Our room was supposed to have been left just the way it was when we left the room, because we were just going to deploy for a short period of time. And we got back and somebody else was in the room and all our stuff was jammed up and piled up. And so I left out of Cam Bay. So Cam Bay back to the United States.
Where'd you land here in the States?
Oh heavens, I don't remember. San Francisco, I think. And
How'd you get home? Commercial
flights. And the Air Force was smart enough to say fly in civilian clothes.
Why were they telling you that?
Because we were getting called every name in the book if we were flying in civilian or in military uniform.
So where did you fly back to? Did you come back to Columbus? Anybody waiting for you?
Oh yeah.
How had you notified the family that you were coming in?
Oh, just by phone.
From where?
From California, I think.
Okay.
I flew to California I can't remember now.
California to New York.
To New York and then into Columbus, yeah.
So who met you at the airport?
Oh, my whole family.
Mom and Dad too?
Yeah. And my daughter, who didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
So,
The other daughter did.
yeah.
So where did you take up residence then when you got back?
Well, she still had the apartment, so we were in the apartment till the movers came and picked up all that stuff, and off we went to Enid, Oklahoma.
Enid, Oklahoma?
Yeah, Enid, Oklahoma.
Why Enid, Oklahoma?
That's where pilot training base was, Vance Air Force Base.
So
And it's still there.
how many more years did you have to do training?
Well, we went to Tyndall Air Force Base, which is in Panama City, Florida, just outside of Panama City, Florida, to go through upgrade training to T-38 instructor status. And once I was dubbed an instructor, we went back to Vance, and we lived on base for... Did we live on base first? No, we lived in town, didn't we? We lived in town in a little house that we rented. And then we moved on base and lived in base housing until we left to go to 111s.
111 what?
The F-111.
Where was that?
And the F-111 was in Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico, Clovis, New Mexico.
About how long were you there?
We were there, what, 4 years? Yeah, we spent how many months in Las Vegas?
Close to 6.
Yeah, in Las Vegas, going for the upgrade program into the 111. And then we went to Clovis.
Well, how old are the kids by this time? Were they going to school at the different bases?
No. Not drugs.
Yeah, the girls were in school in Las Vegas.
Just pattern.
Just Patter, the oldest daughter, was in school in Las Vegas. And then when we got to Clovis, oh, Enid, yeah, I'm skipping here. Well, we went to Enid, and
You got me messed up.
I'm all, yeah. And Enid, well, they all went to school in Enid, didn't they?
That was because he was born there.
Yeah, he was born there in Enid, so,
He didn't go to school till we went
yeah.
to Mexico. He didn't
Well,
go to school at all. We went overseas.
Well, according to your DD-214, you're at Air Command and Staff College for 40 weeks in 1977. Remember that?
Yeah, but that was done by correspondence.
Okay. Then you Squadron Officer School, 8 weeks
Yeah.
in 72.
That was at Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama.
Yeah.
Inspector School, 6 days in 79.
IG school. Where did you realize? That wasn't very long.
That wasn't very long.
6 days.
Yeah, that was.
And then you and you spent 4 days in bomb delivery instructor
Oh yeah,
in 73.
that was at Holloman. What's that base in? It's in Albuquerque.
In 79, you were supervisor of safety training. Only 1 day.
What?
It says
1 year.
supervisor of safety training,
Oh.
1 DY, January 75.
Huh. Supervisor safety training. Now I went to safety school, but that was at USC for an entire semester. And we lived in Fullerton, California. And all the kids were there. And Patter went to school. And I went to USC for the whole quarter.
Well, you did flying safety officer for 16 weeks in 74.
Yeah. That was at USC.
Then aircraft familiarization F4C for a week, but that was in 66. That's before you went over.
Uh-huh.
Operational training F4 24 weeks in March of 67.
Yeah.
before you went over.
That was Tucson.
You were Air Operations Officer, Pilot Tactical Control System for 7 years, 7 months.
What was that one?
Air Operations Officer, Pilot Tactical Air Control System, 7 years, 7 months.
What did you say it started?
I don't know what that was.
You got a bronze oak leaf cluster. What was that for? Period of time in Vietnam? Or a number of flights?
A bronze oak leaf cluster for which medal? For the air medal or what?
It just says bronze oak leaf cluster. You had a Vietnam Service Medal with 3 service cluster stars.
For what medal? I'm sorry.
You've got bronze oak leaf cluster, then Vietnam Service Medal with 3 service stars. You had Air Force Overseas Short Tour Ribbon,
Yeah.
Air Force Overseas Long Tour Ribbon
Yeah.
with 2 bronze oak leaf clusters. And what were those for?
Those were for the fact that we went to England for 3 years, followed by 9 years in Germany. So every, I don't forget what it is, 3 years, it counts as a long tour.
You got a Small Arms Expert Marksmanship.
Yeah.
You had an Air Force Training Ribbon, Republic of Vietnam Gallantry Cross with device. That was given to you by Vietnam.
Yes. Everybody got that if you went and did anything.
Republic of Vietnam Combat Medal. Operational training in your F-11. 1 Oaks, 10 weeks. July of 72. Man, you have had more schooling and training than you have room on your DD 214. How long were you in the service altogether?
23 years.
Why did you get out?
Why did I get out? They were going to I think I had to get out. I didn't make colonel, and they were getting all the lieutenant colonels out that didn't make colonel. So I had to get out. That's my best answer. We had had enough.
Where were you when you did get out? Where were you discharged from?
We were discharged from Fort Hood, Texas.
Where did you go from your discharge?
Fort Hood, Texas.
You stayed there?
We stayed right there. I had to work for a contractor. I was a safety officer for Lockheed and then DynCorp when they got the contract. And I was a safety officer. They did all the maintenance for all of the Army's helicopters. So they did maintenance on Blackhawks, Apaches, Hueys, Cobras. Most of them were getting phased out. The Hueys and the Cobras were getting phased out. All they had left were Apaches, Chinooks. Apaches and Chinooks pretty much made up what they had left in Blackhawks.
I forgot to ask you, you were talking about squadrons over there in Korea. You had 2 squadrons. Were there 25 aircraft in each squadron?
26, I think, aircraft in this squadron. 26 or 27.
Over in Vietnam at your base, did you have any helicopters on base?
There were some Army helicopters, and there were a bunch of caribous. Remember the caribou? Strange looking. Carried supplies. It was a twin engine. I think it was made by the Canadians. It was a high wing, 2-engine transport, thin body, not a very big plane at all. Could take off and land on unimproved surfaces. Didn't need much of a runway at all.
When you were doing any of your support missions, did you have any Cobra helicopters that were with you?
No.
All right, how long did you stay as a civilian at Fort Hood?
Oh, Lord.
30 years.
I spent 16 years
Yeah.
working for the contractor, and then I retired.
And where did you go when you retired?
Well, stayed there we just moved here 5 years ago, so 8 years ago? Oh, phew, whatever, 8 years ago. So I guess we spent 35 years there? 31.
So you have a Waynesville mailing address. Why did you pick Waynesville to retire to?
Well, we have 2 of our children and 5 of our grandchildren are here in Springboro.
That's nice.
So,
What are your girls' names?
Patter, Kim,
Patter,
and
Patter.
Patter.
And how did she get that name?
Oh, Lord. When we were in college, we met a girl named Patter, and we thought that was a cute name. And figured if we ever got married and we had a girl, we'd name her Patter, and we did.
Remember when Patter was born?
She was born in 1965. Boy, I got one right.
She lives in Springboro?
No, Kim, the second one, lives in Springboro.
Where's
And
Patter
Travis,
live?
our son, Patter, lives in North Carolina, Hickory, North Carolina.
Is she married?
She's married, yes she is.
Is she employed outside the home?
Well, yes she is, but it's just part-time and she works for her church.
Okay. And what's your husband do?
Her husband is a deputy sheriff in a county right close to where they live.
What's Patter's married name?
Patter Cross.
Cross?
Cross,
All right. And your other girl, do you say Kim? And when was Kim born?
Oh, Lord.
66.
66.
We're getting help from the...
Yeah, well, I need help. I need a lot of help.
Or December 6th.
So she's the one who lives in Springboro?
Yeah, she lives in Springboro.
And does she work outside the home?
No, she does not.
What's her married name?
Kimberly Yates.
Yates?
Oh,
And what's her husband do?
he's a machinist.
How many children does she have?
She has 3.
Do you remember their names?
Corey, Kristen, and Connor.
And how about Patter? Does she have children?
Yes.
This is a test.
I guess this is good. Why are you doing this to me?
What? So the
She
people
has-
know about your family?
Yeah, she has 3 children. They're triplets.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Aaron.
unusual.
Yeah. Well, she has triplets. Our other one has twins. So, and she's a twin.
So it kind of runs in the family.
It
You have
does.
multiple births.
It
then.
does. Yes, it does.
And then you have a son.
Yes, Travis.
Where does Travis live?
He lives in Springboro.
Is he married?
Yes, he is.
What's his wife's name?
Oh,
We can get help from your wife.
Say it over. She's the funny one of the family.
huh?
I said she's the entertaining one of the family.
Her name's Amy.
Amy?
Uh-huh.
Do they have children?
Yes.
How many?
2.
Should I ask you their names?
Thomas and Taylor.
Oh, good. Yeah, you're good there.
Oh, Lord.
During your marriage, you've
No, we've not considered divorce, but
now what are you going to ask?
but it may happen after this.
Oh shoot! All the places you've traveled, and your kids have traveled with you some, haven't they not?
They've almost been with us all the time, except for short-term things.
Did your girls or your son attend college?
Yes. The girls, neither one graduated. They found a husband before they graduated. They went to Wright State.
How about Travis?
And Travis went to Wright State and he graduated in engineering. So he's now a senior supervisor for General Motors.
Okay.
So he's doing okay.
Good. Good. What do you two do for entertainment? Do you go to movies or go to shows or travel or what? You got family around here, so you may not travel a lot.
We don't travel a lot. We used to. After we lived in Europe for so long, it was sort of, we traveled all the time there. We've been to Israel and a lot of countries over there together. And I've been, having been on the USAFE, the U.S. Air Forces in Europe, IG team, the Inspector General team, I've been on almost every country in Europe that has an Air Force base. So from Turkey to Greece to Italy to every place you can think of, they have an Air Force base. I've been there. So I got to travel quite a bit. And,
what was your main assignment over in Europe? Was that in England?
Well, England for 3 years, and that's when I was still flying F-111s, and I was the safety officer there. But then 9 years in Germany, and the first 3 years I was on the IG team, which I traveled. So we'd travel every other week. We'd be gone a week. So it was gone a week, home a week, gone a week, home a week.
What was that, Inspector General? What were your duties?
I was the safety inspector, so I would inspect for ground safety, weapons safety. I had people that worked for me that were weapons experts, a guy that was a ground safety expert, and it takes an expert to handle all the stuff of going to the hospitals and finding out whether accidents are reported correctly and handled correctly after they've been reported correctly. And weapons safety is an entity all its own for all sorts of reasons. Weapons are all different, and weapons can cause all kinds of problems if stored incorrectly, and placed in areas where they don't belong, and access to those weapons, especially nuclear weapons, and then the flight safety area where flying safety is obviously a big part of flying in Europe and maintaining relations with the countries we're flying in.
Sure.
You got to get along with the folks you're working with, and it's sometimes pretty tough over there.
What was your location in England?
In England, I was the head flight safety officer in
Where?
England at RAF Upper Heyford, which is a base not too far outside of Oxford, England. So, beautiful location in the Cotswolds.
It's I've been to the Cotswolds.
Yeah.
It's just lovely.
Yeah,
Did you guys travel a lot in England?
we did. We did. We went to Scotland and Wales and
Get over to Ireland?
didn't get to Ireland. I'm sorry, we did not. And now that Rosie's there, I don't want to go. So
I've been to Wales and Scotland. I think Wales is just as pretty as Ireland. But overseas in Europe, what was your favorite location?
Favorite location? Well, I liked England probably the most, but the problem with England is you've got a channel to get anywhere. If you're in Germany, we could drive to France in an hour and be eating in a French restaurant. And another hour I could be somewhere else eating in another country. And so it was, both countries have their pros and cons. I liked England because the living was so, once you got to know the people and they got to know you, it was so relaxing and nice.
Very, very neighborly, huh?
Very neighborly. In fact, our neighbor would come in the back door and just yell, "Hello, it's Sil." And it was, I could be sitting in my underwear drinking coffee in the morning and she'd walk right in the door. She didn't knock, she didn't do anything. It would just walked in the house. And the people across the way were always pleasant, and everybody in town was pleasant, and everybody knew everybody. And it was, we lived in a tiny town, and it was just comfortable.
When you were over in Vietnam, were you exposed to Agent Orange?
Yep.
Do you have any disability from Agent Orange?
I do not, but I do. I probably should go back to the, and get reevaluated. But I just haven't, because I don't want to deal with the VA. But I've got 60% disability so far. And
For what condition?
for AFib, and I'm pre-diabetic, so it's and I have sleep apnea. So there are several things that I have that have not been associated with it, but I think they are, but I'm not going to go back and go through the system again. It's so darn complicated and aggravating. I don't think it's.
Well, I haven't introduced our camera person. It's my buddy Mark Summers. And Mark, do you have anything you want to ask Todd about?
Yeah. After you got out of the Air Force, have you ever flied well since then?
No. No.
Desire to, or just?
Oh, no desire to. I'd like to go back and fly a an F-4 again or a T-38, I'd love to go fly again, but I know that's out of the question. So,
You ever go up to the Air Force Museum in Dayton?
yes, I do. I've actually flown the 111 that's there.
Oh, have you? Oh, I was going to say, you see any of your old
Yeah.
Aircraft?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see one. Yeah, I've actually flown the one that's on the floor.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's an A model. And I didn't fly with the ordnance that's on it. They've got high drags on there, which when the guy was telling you about blew up those tanks and stuff, he had high drags on. High drags are 750-pound bombs, but they have a fin on the back that opens up when you drop the bomb. And the reason that they do that is it gets separation of the bomb from the airplane when it goes off. In other words, if you drop a bomb at, say, 500 feet above the ground and you stay at 500 feet above the ground and you drop a slick bomb, guess what? The bomb's going 500 miles an hour and it stays right underneath your plane. So it hits the ground right underneath your plane or close to that and could blow your plane out of the air. So this fin on the back opens up and stops the bomb, and the bomb goes down and you go away, and so the bomb blows up but not your airplane. So there's a reason, yeah. So that load that's on that one plane that's sitting there is they call them snake eyes. I don't know why they call them snake eyes, but they do.
But that wasn't what was on. That wasn't the ordnance that was on the plane when you flew it.
No, when I flew it, we were dropping them from 13,000 feet, so we could drop slick bombs. So there weren't any fins.
So you had to what? Change course or?
No, you don't have to do anything. If you're 13,000 feet, the bomb ignites well below you, so you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, you're far away from it. So, yeah. I got lots of stories.
I'll tell you what, we've had a lot of stories. You have more stories that you think that somebody listening to you and seeing you 50 years from now would like to know about your experience?
Oh, yeah, I have some stories about the Air Force and one commander in particular, and his name was John Bennett, and he was a commander at Clovis, New Mexico, 111s. He was a really hard guy to get along with, and I bring this up because when you talk about being in the service, you have bosses, and that's generally your wing commander or your squadron commander or whoever it happens to be is going to be your boss. In the Air Force, you work for one guy, and you work for that guy, and you hate him or you love him. And after a short period of time, they go away, or you go away. You either get transferred somewhere, and you don't work with this person anymore, or he goes away, and you don't work for that person anymore. So it's you don't have to quit. You can maintain the same job. You can keep doing what you're doing. And your bosses change, and sometimes you like them, sometimes you don't like them. And sometimes you get along with them real well, and sometimes you don't. But it teaches you a good lesson, and that's one of the reasons I stayed in the service. I know this guy's going to be gone in another year. I can put up with that. John Bennett was one of these guys. And I got along with him. I was lucky. But he was like Trump. He fired a lot of people. and going to stand-up, which was the morning meeting where you met with the wing commander, and he went over bomb scores of everybody, and he went over what was going on in the wing, and the base commander gave him a briefing on how many cars we had operable today and how many people we had sick, and how they gave him all this information. And he would get mad, and he'd yell, and he'd scream, and then some people, I stand there, and I was a safety guy, so I'd have to go sometimes. And it was always a bloodbath. And people didn't like him, and people didn't get along with him. And I had to interface with him all the time because I was the safety guy, and I had to coordinate all the messages through him. So I was always in his office. And every time I went in his office, I'd salute him, like you salute your commander, and he'd say, "Schwenke, you need a haircut." And I go, "Sir, I do not need a haircut. I got one yesterday." and that stopped him. He'd go, okay, what do you want?" But the next time he'd say, "Your gig line's crooked," meaning my lines down here, down through my pants are all lined up. My belt buckle and everything isn't all straight. And I go, "Bullshit. Sir, it's straight." I didn't know whether it was or not, but I just give him something back. And that was what he wanted. And he'd go, "Okay." And then I'd brief him on whatever I had to brief him on. So he liked that. I figured it out right away. And so I came in one day with a message, and he had a lot of trouble with the D model, and they were having a lot of crashes and a lot of accidents, and so he was going to get fired. And he went to the division commander. The division commander was going to fire him, and he talked his way out of it. And he said, "You leave me all the pilots that I've got now and stop transferring them out, and I won't lose any more airplanes." So he said, "Okay, I'll give you another chance." So they stayed there. So every accident we had or any damage to an airplane, he wanted it blamed on somebody else. So we had a plane come back one night, and they'd been out on a refueling mission, and the top of the airplane got beat to hell. I mean,
By the boom?
By the boom, yeah. And so, I mean, he could not retract the
flap?
the receptacle on the top of the airplane. He couldn't retract it because it was beat to hell. And so it's a lot of damage. So I have to report that. So he calls me in the office and he says, "I want you to make sure that you blame everything on that refueling unit up there at whatever it was." And I said, "Yes, sir." And so off I went. So I write this message and I blame it all on the boom operator. The boom operator was a trainee and he didn't know what he was doing, and anyway I weasel worded it so it wasn't terrible, but you knew it was the KC-135's fault, not the 111's fault, not our pilot. So I got this message, and I tried to coordinate it with the DO, the Director of Operations. He operates all the flying operations. He's a buddy with the wing commander at the refueling unit. The refueling unit commander has already called the DO. Now the DO's name is Yosemite Sam User. And Yosemite Sam, because he's a little short guy, and he goes off like a rocket when he gets mad. I mean, he blows up. So anyway, I go into him with this message. He says, "Oh, let's put some blame on our guy. Our guy that was his second mission and his first refueling mission at night. So it's probably he did something. So blame a little bit on him and take all the pressure off. Let's not put it all on it." Well, the wing commander's already told me. I work for the wing commander. The wing commander's already told me who to put the blame on. So now I got the DO, the guy who controls all the flying operations, He's told me to make this message sound like it's from both guys. So I rewrite the message before I ever show it to the first one, to the wing commander. So I go up to the wing commander and I show him this message I've got. And he looks at the message and he looks at me and he looks at the message and he looks at me. And he says, "What did I tell you to do?" I said, "Sir, you told me to make it that everybody's free and clear, but the wing commander up there, he's guilty." And he says, "Yes, I want you to, KC-135 is guilty, we're innocent. Go back and rewrite this." So I still got the original message, but I don't show it to him. So I go back and I rewrite the message and I take it to Huser again, and he says, "Why did you send the first message?" I said, "Oh, the wing commander didn't like it." So he looks at the second one and he says, "Oh, I don't know if I like this message, but okay." So he coordinates on it. So it's still wishy-washy, but I take it up to the wing commander. Wing commander looks at it and he says, "Schwenke, do you have a goddamn brother that works up there at that KC-135 unit?" I said, "No, sir." And I hand him the first message I wrote. I give him the first message. So he says, "Where's this message been?" I said, "Well, that's the first one I wrote, but Colonel Huser didn't like it." And he said, "I don't give a shit about Colonel Huser." And he signs it and he says, "Go send this." So I went to the communications space. I sent the message. I wasn't back to my desk 5 seconds. "Colonel Huser's on the phone for you." I pick up the phone. He's yelling. I figure my career's over. "You goddamn, I thought we were friends." Boom, and he hung up the phone. I said, "Oh crap." That's the DO, Sam Huser, the one that blew up. He's screaming, cussing me out. I thought we were friends, and he hung up the phone. So I said, "Well, there's my career out the window." So everybody goes to the bars. All fighter pilots go to the bar at night. So I go to the bar. Here's Huser, all apologetic. He says, "I'm sorry, Todd. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you." I says, "That's all right, sir. I held the phone way far away from it." I didn't hear much of it. And he said, "Well, that's good." He says, "I apologize. I know you work for Bennett." So, and that poor guy, he became the wing commander at 111 base in Idaho, and he died of a heart attack.
Oh.
Yeah, had a heart attack at work and died.
Oh.
Yeah, he's just a nice guy. But Bennett, he just didn't want anybody to leave. And after so many years, I volunteered to go to Europe, and I wanted to go to Europe bad, so I just volunteered to do all this stuff. Well, I'm in a big meeting, and Bennett's there, and all these commanders are there. And it's a quarterly meeting that we have to give all the statistics to him and tell him how the safety operation's going and all this stuff, and my back's to him. And all of a sudden he says, "You son of a bitch." And I'm, huh? What? I turn around, and Bennett says, "Yeah, you," to me. Says, "What's the matter? What did I do?" And he says, "You got an assignment." He says, "Haven't I treated you well?" And I'm going, "Yes, sir, yes, sir." And I'm going, "I got an assignment. I wonder what it is." I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I wonder where I'm going." And he says, "You're going to RAF Upper Haven." And he's really mad. And I'm going, "Oh goody."
Yeah. But you hadn't even applied for it though, had you?
Yes, I had.
Oh, you had?
Yeah.
Okay.
But nobody was supposed to get, I was the first person to get an assignment out of there. he was really mad. Oh.
How soon after that did you get transferred?
Oh, not long. He calmed down. He at my going away party, he says, "Schwenke, you know why I like you?" And I said, "I don't have a clue, sir." And he said, "Because you always look me straight in the eye, whether you were lying to me or telling me the truth." He just looked me straight in the eye and gave me an answer. He was something else. He was
You
something.
applied for the assignment?
Yes, I had.
Did he know you had?
Well, I'm sure he probably did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he had the assignment in his hand, and he was he crashed my Christmas party one time. The guy we had the party, we invited this guy, and he says, "Please don't invite the wing commander." This guy later became a general, and he says, "Please don't invite the wing commander." I said, "Okay, I won't." So halfway through the party, I get this knock on the door, and here's Bennett standing at the door. "I hear you're having a party, Schwenke." "Yes, sir. Come on in." He was something else. He was a doozy. He made general. He made general.
Politics, isn't it?
Yeah, he made general. Then he got fired.
Oh, after becoming general, he got fired?
Yeah, he was the commandant of Vogelway, which is between Sembach Air Base and Ramstein. It's about 10 miles distance between the two. And there's this Vogelway area, and there used to be a French caserne there, and then there was a BX and a commissary and a little air station and a bunch of little Nitnoy stuff, Air Force mostly, and some Army stuff, all interspaced. And he was the commander of all that. And he was at the BX in his civilian clothes one day, and there was some kid running around unsupervised, yelling and screaming and doing all kinds of crap that he shouldn't be doing.
Uh-huh.
You know, it was, how
Being a pest.
being a pest. And Bennett grabbed the kid, I guess by the collar or something. Grabbed the kid, and whose kid is this? And it was Chief Master, or not Chief Master Sergeant. What's this? What's Sergeant Major, an Army Sergeant Major. It was a Sergeant Major's kid. And the Sergeant Major says, "Let go of my kid." And I said, "Don't you know who I am?" And of course, he wasn't in uniform. Sergeant Major, "I don't know who you are." He's just giving this general, well, it got this guy filed a complaint. Bennett got removed.
Huh.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was a strange guy to work for.
Well, in 23 years, you've got a lot of stories.
Oh, I got a lot of just I mean, some.
Does that bring anything else to mind, Mark?
No, not really.
Oh, Todd? Let
Okay.
me thank you for this interview.
Well, I don't know if it's any good, but
And thank you for your service.
thank you.
All 23 years.